Hello and welcome back to the Not the Old Firm YouTube channel. My name is Ben Banks, and today in our part 3 of our mini-series of League Cup interviews we have a chat with Rob Jones. Of course, over the weekend Hibs faced St Johnstone in the League Cup semi-final, whereas on the Sunday Livingston played St Mirren. Earlier this week we've had Livingston legend Derek Lilly, who obviously inspired the Lions to their 2003-04 League Cup success. Peter McDonald from a St Johnstone perspective, who's now a football consultant, but in his playing days made over 200 appearances for St Johnstone in multiple semi-final appearances. And now in part 3 we speak to Rob Jones, a former Hibs captain who lifted this trophy in 2007 with the Highdies as they beat Kilmarnock convincingly in that final, and he joins us to sort of reminisce on what went right in the semi-final stage in that cup run against St Johnstone, perhaps quite fittingly, what he's doing now down south as an academy coach at Middlesbrough, as well as some of his memories at Hibs and why it's sort of stuck for him. There's a lot of Hibs-related things these days, and he gives a bit of insight as to why Hibs seem to have been one of the teams, more so than others, that have stuck with him throughout his career and into his coaching time so far. So we hope you do enjoy this chat. Do remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel. Our final part of this will be out on Saturday with a St Mirren League Cup winning hero from 2013. So do check that out, as well as keep up to date with our socials on Twitter and our website as we cover these matches extensively over the weekend. Obviously big events for both of these clubs in this particular semi-final, and then of course not forgetting Livingston beat St Mirren on the Sunday. So I hope you do enjoy. Do remember to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and until next time, just for going a bit about your time at Hibs and stuff, what is it you're up to now? Obviously I've got a wee bit of an idea from your LinkedIn bio, but that's about it.
I'm coaching at Middlesbrough, which is local to me, which is nice. I've got the younger ones, which is great, and I enjoy it. I think I never shied away from the fact when I retired, I wanted to coach. I wanted to move into that side of it, and I did a little bit with some American players for a couple of years, which was great. Good for me to get on the pitch as often as I did. But now it's nice to be in at Middlesbrough, which is a Cat 1 academy down here, which is probably one of the best in the country. Good players, good people. Good environment, and it's been nice to get back out and actually influence the next stage of people's careers, because as people are well aware, I've got a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience of first team football and the likes in two different countries. So if I can pass on some information, some knowledge, some expertise, and it influences in a positive manner, then all well and good.
Obviously, people I know perhaps maybe I don't know. Scottish fans pay attention to Middlesbrough, but they'll also be well aware of who's in the dugout and stuff. Have you had many contacts with Neil Warnock as of yet?
No, the first team environment in this day and age is very separate from the academy, as you would well understand. I think maybe I've come across Neil a couple of times in his dugout and me on the pitch, but no, we've not crossed paths since he arrived at Middlesbrough. He's done a great job, but no, I don't expect to bump into him in the corridor or on the pitch, because the world we live in that right now, we just protect ourselves as much as possible.
Yeah, if it's anything like I spoke to a couple of guys at Fulham and a couple of other Category 1 academies down south, and from the sounds of it, it's basically you guys are just getting sectioned as far away as pretty much everybody is getting sectioned as far away as possible from players at that level.
Yeah, well, I think the 18s and 23s are up the top as high as they possibly can go away from the first team. The academy is sanctioned to the outdoor Astro in an evening, so it's difficult. But if it wasn't like that, there would be no academy football anyway. So I think that right now, and I think it's just vitally important that the kids get out and actually have the opportunity to train and run around and have a bit more mental well-being than they would be locked in the homes just doing homeschooling. So I think it's important at this present moment in time, is as long as you follow all the protocols and all the needs to be to keep the kids safe and keep the players safe, you follow those.
It must be. I know you're saying you've obviously not got much involvement with the first team just now, but given they're pushing quite well towards the top end, the playoffs and the championship and stuff, that must be, for a whole club, must give you a real lift for the future.
No, the club's an enormous club, and it's destined to play in the Premier League. But then there's also an awful lot of teams in the Championship would say exactly the same thing. They've been there not too distant future with Aitor. No, it wasn't to be in the first season they came straight back down again. But I think, like every club, they go through transitions, and it's set up to be a Premier League outfit again. But as we all well know, that the table never lies, and it is what it is. If you're in the top two or in the playoffs come the end of the season, then you're there on merit. And hopefully Middlesbrough are in a good position at the moment to push on and kick on and move forward. And then that creates, as you say, then a buoyant atmosphere within the football club as a whole, because then you look forward to the big boys of the Man United, Man City, Liverpool's coming to the Riverside. But there's a long way to go yet. I say earlier, time does fly, but there is an awful long way to go, and I think there's going to be lots of twists and turns, not just in the Championship, but in the Premier League also. I think you've seen some crazy decisions and some crazy performances and results, and I don't think that'll change.
No, I think that's just been the running theme of this season, because even up here, on and off the park, it's regardless of what happens, or whether Middlesbrough go up, Hibs go and win the League Cup, I think we'll all be very glad to see the back of this season.
Well, I think we all wanted to see the back of 2020 as much as possible. And I think now it's just a case of trying everything possible to get the season fulfilled and finished with whatever level it is. I think down in England now, anything below the conference is in probably dire straits and looking. I think that they may well go null and void, like as they did last year, which doesn't help anybody really. I know it stops paying out money, but it doesn't really help the low league football and the non-league football and the pyramid system down here. But it's just crazy times, and I think we have to be as footballers, as supporters, as coaches, we have to be patient because eventually it will turn back. I don't think we're anywhere close to it yet.
No, I don't think so. Just before I move on to Hibs and stuff, I don't know how much involvement you'll have on this side of it. But speaking to Premiership managers up here in terms of the loan market and getting youngsters from clubs like Middlesbrough and stuff, they've found it really tricky this season. How have you sort of found trying to get your younger players? What age level are you working at down south?
Well, I've got the 14, so it's not too bad for me because we have to live within an hour and a half of the training ground anyway. So or we can't take them. So it's majority local. I think we've got one that is probably an hour away, which isn't ideal because you know the rules now with the tiers. You can't go from one tier to another if that tier's lower than yours and all that sort of stuff, and it causes chaos a little bit. But no, I think it's difficult, but it's the system put in place, and as long as we don't try and fight the system and try and fight the rules, we'll be okay. I think I've always been like this, and as long as you are working to the constraints that are put in front of you, that's it. There's no point moaning and whinging and whining about something that you cannot control. Get on with what is in your remit, what is possible to you, and that's it. You can't then go away, well, I wish I had this, or I need to do this, or I need to do that, or we should have done this. That's the rules. That's the facts. Just deal with it and get on with it.
Yeah, just covering all bases, but I doubt any of your 14, 15-year-olds will come up on loan here anytime soon. Got a wee bit to go yet.
No. We've got some good ones that are a bit young for first team Premiership football in Scotland, I'm afraid.
Ah, right, I see. Right. They probably all still look a bit older than me, even though I'm 19. But we'll park that point for now. Obviously, looking on this weekend at Hibs and stuff, they always, when you see Hibs at Hampden and stuff, they always get a chance to reminisce on what's been for you.
Yeah, when was that? I was there the last time when they played Ross County. I wasn't at the Scottish Cup final. I was at the Cup final before I got invited to that one, so that wasn't so long ago. But no, I think whenever Hibs go on a cup run, which to be fair, over the last 4, 5, 6 years, they've done really well in the cup runs. Fell short a few times, but they've got really close. But no, you do reminisce about the times that you made it, because I think with my time there, we played there 3 times. I think we played twice in the semi-final against Dunfermline in the Scottish Cup. One was a replay, and then obviously the iconic one where we won 5-1 against Kilmarnock. So I played there 3 times, and I think every occasion's been a special occasion to me as a player. So when Hibs do go on those kinds of runs, and you alluded to earlier that it is going to be St Johnstone in the semi-final, which it was in 2007. It just brings back those very fond memories of when we were on that run and in that mould, really.
It was that game. That game was played at Tynecastle. I was speaking to somebody on the St Johnstone side that played in that game. That was one. What age was that then? I think I was about 6 or something. So my memories of that cup semi-final and final run are a bit hazy. But both semi-finals played at Tynecastle on Easter Road.
Yeah, it was a bit surreal for us, really, because obviously we played at Tynecastle, but that's notoriously for the Hibs Hearts derby. So I think the good thing from our point of view is we were allocated the away dressing room, so it was normal to us. I think if we'd have allocated the home dressing room, it would have been a bit surreal, to be honest. But no, it was a game that, again, that we were favourites to go and win. Obviously, St Johnstone were in the league below that time. And no, it was a good game. It was a good battle, and thankfully we came out on top on that evening.
Yeah, because I think it was sort of similar circumstances. I suppose I know St Johnstone are on a much better footing compared to what they were then in the first division, but Hibs, probably when you look at the teams involved in this, are the favourites.
Yeah, but St Johnstone had a decent run of late. They've done really well. Hibs have been hit and miss. Obviously, they won at the weekend, which is good from a league point of view. But before that, I think they're not winning 3 or 4. So, no, cup semi-finals are a difficult one to really get to grips of who's the favourite, who's not the favourite. It's one of those games. It's a one-off game, and it's whoever turns up on the day that gets the job done. That's the main priority, because I think if 3 or 4 go missing, you will struggle. So hopefully they'll turn up. Obviously, I alluded to earlier, they've been in the players that will play have been in semi-finals, quarter-finals, probably more or less every year for the last 4 or 5 years. So it won't be a new thing to them. But hopefully they can get over the line, and then another day out at Hampden.
Yeah, it's always been, at least in recent times for Hibs, it's been a case of nearly it's either they've got to the semi-final and get put out, or they've got to the final and just won the thing. So there's never really been a balance there.
No, like I say, cup games, cup finals, they're very much a lottery. It's a difficult one to pinpoint why the favourites don't win or the favourites do win. It's a tough one, and no, the weekend will be tough again. It's, like I said, it's a one-off game, and whoever turns up and puts in a performance that is inevitably gets you a result, and that's who goes through the next round, and that's how brutal it is sometimes. But hopefully, obviously, the win last week will give them confidence again. Again, experience of being in semi-finals and whatnot in not too distant past will help them and stand them in good stead.
Yeah. It was a bit about that for you guys. I think obviously St Johnstone were in the first division at that time, and I think it went to extra time reading, and then you got to play the Premiership team in the final and gubbed them 5-1. So cup football is a bit strange.
It's a strange one, and yeah, St Johnstone, like I said, we were the favourites to win the game. I think we went 1-0 up, and then they come back and scored, and then I think it was Murph who scored a free kick in extra time. So it's one of those where it's on paper it should have been. It's much easier than what it was, but it's an opportunity to get to a cup final. So both teams are going to go a hell for leather to try and win that game.
When you guys eventually got to the final and stuff, and the build up to that, I don't know how much you knew about Scottish football before here, but obviously Hibs are a massive club, as you'll know now. Were you sort of taken aback by just how intense the build up in that is for an occasion like that?
Before I came up, I didn't realise that we hadn't won a trophy for 16 years before it, which is quite a big feat for, like you say, such a prestigious and big club in Scotland. To go 16 years without a trophy is an awful long time. But no, I think the fact that we played Hearts in the quarter-final, at Easter Road stood in his good stead. The fact that we played St Johnstone away from home in the semi-final stood in good stead. And to be fair, the week leading up to the cup final probably couldn't have gone any better. It was just as low key as possible. There was nothing different, nothing changed. Training was the same. The routine was the same. Press was the same. So it was felt like just another game, to be honest. And I think we had some young boys in the group. We had some really old ones in the group that had been there, done it before. And I think that mixture and blend helped on the cup final day.
One I need to ask you about in terms of that group is Lewis Stevenson, who's obviously he's still there, the Peter Pan of that team, really. He's obviously just at 500 appearances last week. Just crazy that he's still turning it in 7 out of 10s every week.
No, Lewis was one that just shot to fame very, very quickly. I'm not sure how many games he'd played before the cup final. I only think it was a handful. And then to play like the way he did was astonishing, to be honest. He got man of the match on the day, and rightly so. And obviously he's gone on now to make his 500th appearance, which is no mean feat in any footballing world. Never mind the Scottish Premier League and playing for such a prestigious club at Hibs. So no, it's great from his point of view. Obviously, not too long ago he did his testimonial, which is fantastic also. But no, on that day he was the young kid, fresh, invigorated, and I think a bit of a sense of no fear, which helped us on that cup final day.
Yeah, very modest as well. Speaking to him last week, like it just seems to. He doesn't really seem to acknowledge the fact. Like, I think he's 4th or 5th on the record appearance holder, and he's like, I don't really acknowledge it. I don't think I'll ever be revered in that manner. But you'd like to think if he's 2 League Cups, Scottish Cup, and then over 500 appearances, because it speaks for itself.
Well, is he not the only Hibs player to win the Scottish Cup and the League Cup?
Certainly. So, times he has.
So that really. Such a nice guy. Obviously, he's a lot older now than when he first came into it. But no, very quiet, very placid. Just got along with his job and never caused any chaos or trouble. It was very difficult at times to try and get a conversation out of him. But I'm sure he's matured as the years have gone on. And no, hopefully he can create another piece of history, not just his career, but the football club as a whole.
Yeah. I'm assuming because we were speaking this about before we hit record. You've obviously played for a fair amount of teams and represented clubs throughout your career, but Hibs seems to be the one that just is sort of stuck with you. Is obviously the former captain and things like that. That sort of take you by surprise all these years later that this is the one that's stuck for you.
Well, I do. To be fair, I do a little bit for Doncaster. Obviously, I was there 3.5 years and had a spell as player manager. Sheffield Wednesday was my boyhood team, so there's a big sticking factor there for me as an individual. Obviously, I didn't stay there for as long as I would have liked to. I think I did 18 months at Sheffield Wednesday, but no, Hibs is the mainstay. I think whenever I'm back in Scotland or Edinburgh, I always go try and fit in a game, and I'm welcome with open arms and whatnot, and I'm held in a nice regard up there by the supporters, and it's nice from my point of view to have that relationship with the football club. It's a football club that gave me an awful lot. I was a very unknown centre half from Grimsby when I went up there, and when I left, I became known as this towering defender, leader of men, and a more prestige towards my football and prowess when I came back down. So I owe an awful lot to Hibs as a football club, the supporters as people, and the team that I played in when I went up there. But I hope that I gave them back as much as they would have expected from me.
Obviously can't be in the grounds this weekend, which is a shame. If for all 4 teams, really, if you pick a year to win it, this is probably the one you don't want to win. As weird as that sounds, although I'm sure that won't put Jack Ross and stuff off. But will you get to catch the game this weekend?
I'll try. It's a bit crazy at the moment, as you well understand. You don't know whether you're going to be here, there, somewhere else. There's always something to do, and not so much know where to be. But you've got at the moment, I'm taking a lot of time to finish courses and whatnot, just taking the time for a positive manner. But yeah, I'll try and get at some point to watch some part of the game. I watched the game last night at Livingston, and I thought he was going to get called off towards the end when the snow came down, the pitch turned white. Wasn't ideal, but no, I'll get to it. I'll try and get to a point where I see some of the game. I'm not the greatest of watchers in the world, to be honest. I'm not a fan of sitting watching the whole games, regardless of who it is or where it is. But I'm sure I'll see snippets and bits of it here and there.
Yeah, well, they'll be hoping it's not back to Livingston anytime soon. That place is -27, I think, in the August time. Never mind now. So
there's another place I had the delight of not going to. Livingston, I think they were in the league below as well. So that's another place I've never encountered.
I mean, lovely people. I mean, people can say what they want about their pitch and stuff, but oh my God, it is the coldest place in Scottish football without any sort of debate. What do you sort of think for this weekend? And I don't know how much you've watched the Hibs this season, but against St Johnstone, they will be the favourites, but a stern task nonetheless.
No, I came up when they played Aberdeen. I did a bit of TV stuff with Hibs TV when they played Aberdeen. Got beat 1-0 at home. And no, there was some good stuff played. Defensively, looked really good. Obviously, the big boy Mascherano. Is it Mascherano? Big goalkeeper Marciano.
I was meant to say, is he not retired to play with Barcelona?
Looked very good, but obviously he's injured. They brought a boy on loan who's played a couple of games. But like I said earlier, it's one of those where the more players that turn up from each individual team will have the best opportunity to go and win the game. But like I said earlier, there's an awful lot of experience in that Hibs side. Been there, done it before, so hopefully that stands them in good stead and takes them to one step closer. And well, not one step closer, to one more game to Hampden to possibility to win that trophy.